In a moment that no one inside the Forrester living room will ever forget, the fragile balance holding the family together shatters when Hope Logan finally speaks the truth she has been carrying like a ticking time bomb. A truth so devastating that it literally knocks Brooke Logan off her feet, sending her collapsing to the floor as gasps echo through the room, and the past, present, and future of the Logans and Forresters collide in one explosive instant, because for weeks there has been an undercurrent of tension surrounding Hope, a strange distance in her eyes, a hesitation in her voice whenever Brooke asked if everything was truly okay, and while Brooke chalked it up to stress, to the endless chaos that defines life in Los Angeles, Hope has been fighting an internal war between loyalty to her mother and the moral obligation to come clean, knowing that once the words leave her mouth there will be no undoing the damage. No way to protect Brooke from the fallout, and yet the truth refuses to stay buried any longer, especially as secrets have a way of clawing their way to the surface on the bold and the beautiful, often at the worst possible moment, which is exactly what happens when a seemingly ordinary family gathering turns into a nightmare, with Ridge present, his guarded eyes flicking between Brooke and Hope, sensing that something is wrong but unable to pinpoint it, while Carter, Steffi, and even a wary Thomas hover on the edges, all feeling the tension crackling in. The air like static before a storm, and when Brooke, ever the mother, ever the protector, presses Hope to talk, to tell her what has been weighing on her heart, Hope finally breaks, her voice trembling as she admits that the secret she's been keeping involves a betrayal that cuts deeper than anyone could imagine. Because it's not just about her, it's about Brooke. About a decision made in the shadows that threatens to rewrite everything Brooke thought she knew about her own life. And as Hope begins to reveal the details, the room seems to close in, memories flashing through Brooke's mind of years spent fighting for love, for family, for a sense of stability that always seems just out of reach. And then the words come, halting at first and then rushing out in a torrent, as Hope confesses that she uncovered proof of a past affair, or a hidden arrangement, or a long-buried lie involving Ridge, or another pivotal figure from Brooke's past. Something that suggests Brooke's world has been built on a foundation of half-truths and manipulation, and as the implications sink in, Brooke's face drains of color, her breathing grows shallow, and she reaches out as if to steady herself. But it's too late, because the shock is too much, the emotional blow too severe, and Brooke faints, collapsing in front of everyone as screams erupt and chaos ensues, with Ridge rushing to her side, calling her name. His own guilt or confusion or fear etched across his face, while Hope stands frozen, tears streaming down her cheeks, knowing that she has just detonated a bomb that may permanently alter her relationship with her mother. And as Brooke lies unconscious, the family is forced to confront the magnitude of what Hope has revealed, because fainting is never just a physical reaction on this show. It's a symbol of emotional overload, of a woman pushed beyond her limits by years of heartbreak and sacrifice. And when Brooke eventually regains consciousness, the fallout is immediate and brutal. As questions fly and accusations surface, with Brooke demanding answers, her voice shaking not just from physical weakness, but from a profound sense of betrayal, and Hope, racked with guilt, insists she never wanted it to come out this way, that she was trying to protect her mother, to spare her pain, but that the truth was poisoning her from the inside. And now that it's out, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle, especially as Ridge is forced to confront his own role in the secret. Whether as a participant, an enabler, or a man who chose silence over honesty, and the tension between Ridge and Brooke reignites with ferocity, old wounds ripped open as Brooke questions whether she ever truly knew the man she has loved for decades, while Steffi watches with a mixture of sympathy and defensiveness, torn between loyalty to her father and compassion for Brooke, and Thomas, ever the wild card, sees opportunity in the chaos, understanding that moments like these can shift power dynamics in unexpected ways. And as the days unfold, Brooke's fainting spell becomes the catalyst for a deeper unraveling, with doctors warning her to avoid stress even as her personal life becomes more stressful than ever, forcing Brooke to confront not only the secret Hope revealed, but also the toll years of emotional turmoil have taken on her body and soul. And Hope, meanwhile, struggles with the consequences of her honesty, facing resentment, blame, and even anger from family members who feel the truth should have stayed buried. Yet she stands by her decision, insisting that secrets destroy families and that Brooke deserved to know, even if it broke her heart. And as mother and daughter navigate the painful aftermath, their bond is tested in ways it never has been before, with moments of raw honesty giving way to silence and distance, while Ridge attempts damage control, offering explanations that feel hollow in the face of Brooke's pain, and the larger Forrester family finds itself divided, alliances shifting as each person processes the revelation through their own lens, and in classic Bold and the Beautiful fashion, the shockwaves extend beyond the immediate family, affecting business decisions at Forrester Creations, romantic relationships, and long-standing rivalries. Because when Brooke Logan faints, it's never just about a single moment. It's about the accumulation of years of secrets, betrayals, and emotional battles finally reaching a breaking point. And as spoilers tease, the consequences of Hope's revelation will continue to unfold in dramatic fashion, with Brooke forced to decide whether she can forgive the lies that shaped her life, Hope grappling with the cost of telling the truth, and Ridge facing the possibility that this time, the damage may be irreversible, setting the stage for an emotional roller coaster that reminds viewers why The Bold and the Beautiful remains a masterclass in soap opera drama, where love and betrayal walk hand in hand, and one shocking secret is enough to bring even the strongest woman to her knees. Brooke Logan never imagined that the carefully rebuilt foundation of her world could shatter in a single heartbeat. Yet that is exactly what happens when Hope Logan finally reaches the breaking point and reveals the devastating secret she has been carrying for months. A secret so explosive that it doesn't just alter relationships, but detonates the emotional core of the Forrester and Logan families alike. Because the moment Hope's trembling voice cuts through the tense silence of the living room. At Brooke's house, everything changes forever as Hope, pale and visibly shaken, admits that the truth she's about to share will destroy lives, but that she can no longer live with the guilt. And Brooke, sensing something terribly wrong, urges her daughter to speak, while clutching her chest instinctively, unaware that her body already senses the shock that her mind is about to endure. And as Hope begins, she confesses that during the chaotic weeks surrounding Thomas's departure and Liam's emotional distance, she made a decision that would haunt her forever, revealing that she became involved in a secret arrangement that started as an attempt to protect her family, but spiraled into something far darker, explaining that she discovered evidence months ago proving that a major Forrester scandal had been deliberately covered up, one involving paternity manipulation, corporate sabotage, and a calculated betrayal that implicates Ridge Forrester himself. And as Hope continues, her voice cracks as she reveals that Brooke unknowingly played a role in enabling the deception, not by malice, but by trusting the wrong person. And the words hit Brooke like a physical blow as the room begins to spin, her breath growing shallow, while Hope admits that Ridge fathered a child years ago under circumstances that were deliberately erased from history. A child who has been living under an assumed identity and whose existence was hidden to protect Forrester Creations from scandal. And Brooke's knees buckle as Hope goes further, revealing that this secret child has already crossed paths with the family and that Brooke herself once defended them, never knowing the truth. And the realization that she unknowingly helped conceal Ridge's betrayal sends a wave of nausea through Brooke as her vision blurs, and when Hope finally admits that she stayed silent because she was blackmailed, threatened with the destruction of her line at Forrester Creations and the permanent loss of her children. If she spoke out, Brooke lets out a strangled gasp before collapsing to the floor in a dramatic faint, her body finally succumbing to the overwhelming shock, leaving Hope screaming for help as panic erupts. And when Brooke regains consciousness hours later in the hospital, surrounded by Ridge, Katie, and a guilt-ridden Hope, the emotional fallout only deepens as Brooke demands answers, her voice weak but filled with betrayal, forcing Hope to repeat the truth, while Ridge stands frozen, his silence confirming everything. And Brooke realizes in that moment that her marriage has been built on lies yet again, triggering a tidal wave of rage, heartbreak, and deja vu that reopens decades-old wounds. As Brooke lashes out, accusing Ridge of robbing her of informed choice, of manipulating her trust, and of allowing her to defend a lie that shattered her dignity. While Ridge tries to justify his actions by claiming he was protecting his family, a defense that only fuels Brooke's fury as she reminds him that secrecy has always been the poison that destroys them. And as news of Brooke's collapse spreads, the shockwaves ripple outward, with Steffi demanding answers from her father, Hope being ostracized for keeping the secret despite being a victim herself, and Liam torn between supporting Hope and grappling with the magnitude of the deception, especially when it becomes clear that the hidden child's identity could upend multiple relationships, including his own. And as Forrester Creations teeters on the edge of scandal, corporate enemies circle, sensing weakness, while Brooke, refusing to remain silent any longer, vows to expose the truth no matter the cost, declaring that she will not faint, fall, or forgive her way through another betrayal, even if it means destroying the man she once loved. And in the final chilling moments, as Brooke stands alone staring out at the city lights, she whispers that secrets have consequences, unaware that Hope's revelation was only the first domino to fall, because another truth, even darker and more personal, is still waiting to come to light, promising that Brooke's collapse was not the end of the story, but the beginning of a reckoning that will leave no heart untouched and no lie buried ever again. As Brooke's recovery progresses, the emotional damage proves far more severe than the physical shock that sent her to the hospital, because once she is discharged and returns home, every familiar corner of her house becomes a reminder of how deeply her trust was violated. And despite Ridge's repeated attempts to explain himself, Brooke refuses to let him hide behind vague excuses or emotional pleas, forcing him to confront the reality that his silence nearly cost her life. And when Ridge finally admits that the secret child was conceived during a period of weakness he never disclosed, Brooke's heartbreak turns into cold clarity as she realizes this was not just another mistake, but a deliberate, sustained deception that required countless lies, implicating executives, legal teams, and even medical records, and Hope, watching her mother unravel, is consumed by guilt as she confesses that the blackmail came from within Forrester Creations itself, orchestrated by someone who knew exactly how to manipulate her maternal instincts and professional ambitions, a revelation that ignites suspicion across the company and sends Steffi into investigative mode as she vows to uncover who threatened her sister-in-law, while Liam, increasingly unsettled, begins to question whether his own life choices have been influenced by secrets he never knew existed, especially when he recalls moments where Ridge subtly intervened in his marriage and career, prompting the terrifying possibility that the hidden child's presence has already shaped their lives in unseen ways. And as Brooke struggles to sleep, plagued by nightmares of collapsing floors and whispered confessions, she makes a decisive move by contacting a journalist she once trusted, signaling her intention to expose everything publicly, not out of revenge, but out of survival, because she refuses to let secrecy destroy her family again. And when Ridge discovers her plan, the confrontation that follows is explosive, filled with decades of resentment erupting all at once as Brooke accuses him of loving control more than truth, while Ridge insists he was trying to protect everyone, a justification that crumbles when Brooke demands to know why Hope was sacrificed in the process, forcing Ridge to confront the devastating consequences of his choices. And as tension escalates, the mysterious child's identity edges closer to being revealed when Steffi uncovers financial records linking company funds to an off-the-books trust, suggesting that someone within the Forrester inner circle ensured this person was supported and protected for years, a discovery that sends shockwaves through the family as suspicion lands on names no one ever imagined, including Eric, whose stunned reaction only deepens the mystery, while Brooke, growing stronger but emotionally hardened, finds unexpected resolve in reconnecting with her own sense of independence, reminding herself that her worth does not depend on Ridge's approval or forgiveness. And when Hope finally breaks down and admits that she feared telling Brooke because she knew it would destroy her faith in love altogether, Brooke responds not with anger, but with heartbreaking honesty, admitting that fainting was not weakness, but her body's refusal to absorb another betrayal. And this mother-daughter moment becomes a turning point as Brooke vows to stand beside Hope when the truth comes out, no matter who falls. And as rumors swirl through Los Angeles, and the press begins asking questions about Brooke's hospitalization, Forrester Creations stock trembles, forcing Steffi and Ridge into crisis management mode just as Brooke releases a cryptic statement hinting that a long-buried secret is about to surface, a move that ignites panic among those who helped conceal the truth, while the hidden child, sensing exposure, prepares to step forward on their own terms, setting the stage for a revelation that could redefine the Forrester legacy forever. and in the closing moments as Brooke stands before the mirror, steady and unafraid. She whispers that she survived the collapse for a reason, because fainting opened her eyes, and this time she will not look away, knowing that the storm hope unleashed is only growing stronger and that the truth, once spoken, cannot be silenced again. As the days unfold and the pressure surrounding Brooke's hinted disclosure intensifies, the atmosphere at Forrester Creations becomes suffocating with suspicion and fear. Because everyone senses that the fragile balance holding decades of secrets together is on the verge of collapse, and Brooke, now fully recovered physically but sharpened by emotional clarity, refuses to be intimidated by Ridge's desperate pleas or Steffi's warnings about collateral damage, declaring that the family's legacy deserves honesty even if it burns. And when a closed-door board meeting is abruptly called, Brooke makes the stunning decision to attend uninvited, walking into the room with calm authority and a presence that silences every executive, forcing Ridge to confront her not as a wife to be managed, but as a woman who has been lied to for far too long. And as Brooke demands full transparency, the discussion spirals into chaos when financial documents are revealed, proving that the secret child has not only been protected but groomed for influence, having quietly consulted on design concepts and market strategies under an alias, a revelation that shocks Steffi and leaves Eric visibly shaken as he realizes how deeply the deception runs. And Hope, standing beside her mother, finally reclaims her voice by revealing that the blackmail included threats of rewriting company history to paint Brooke as unstable, a cruel irony that nearly became reality when she fainted. And this disclosure galvanizes Brooke, who announces that she will no longer allow her health or reputation to be weaponized, drawing a clear line that no one is allowed to cross again. And as the meeting dissolves into accusation and denial, news leaks to the press, igniting a media firestorm that exposes fractures within the Forrester empire and forces Ridge to confront the public consequences of private choices, while Brooke, refusing to hide, gives a brief but powerful interview asserting that truth is not betrayal, but liberation, words that resonate across Los Angeles and shift public sympathy firmly to her side. And as reactions ripple outward, Taylor returns unexpectedly, drawn by rumors of Brooke's collapse and Ridge's hidden child, only to find herself caught between old loyalties and undeniable facts. And in a tense confrontation, Brooke and Taylor share a moment of brutal honesty, acknowledging that while they have battled for decades over the same man, the real enemy has always been secrecy. A realization that reframes their rivalry and leaves Ridge isolated in the wreckage of his own decisions. And as Hope watches this shift with quiet determination, she begins outlining plans to rebuild her career independently of Forrester Creations, determined never again to be silenced by fear, while Liam, inspired by Hope's courage, admits that the revelations have forced him to reevaluate his own definition of loyalty, especially as evidence emerges suggesting that his father, Bill Spencer, may have known fragments of the truth all along, opening another dangerous front in the unfolding scandal. And as Brooke prepares for the final disclosure, the hidden child makes their move, stepping into the spotlight at a fashion showcase under their true name, stunning the audience and forcing Ridge to publicly acknowledge what he denied for years, a moment so raw and unscripted that it becomes an instant media sensation. And as cameras flash and whispers turn into roars, Brooke watches from the crowd, her heart pounding not with fear, but with vindication, realizing that fainting was the last moment she allowed herself to be powerless. And in the aftermath, as lawsuits loom and alliances shift, Brooke quietly packs Ridge's belongings, not out of spite but finality, signaling the end of a chapter defined by lies. And in the closing beats, as Hope and Brooke stand together watching the sun rise over a city buzzing with scandal and truth, Brooke reflects that collapse did not break her, it rebuilt her, and whatever comes next will be face standing, eyes open, heart unguarded, because the truth, once revealed, has set her free at last.